Welcome. Ambampost.com. We're out at Lake Roosevelt, uh, built in 1911. Beautiful place, beautiful country. You ought to come see it. Great state of Arizona. Give it up to our military. Give it up to our Marines. Give it up to the Navy, U.S. Air Force, and all those who serve and that have passed for our freedom, fought for our freedom in this great country. We're going to start off with what we went over yesterday, some things that I just want to clarify again, just so we get a better understanding, if you will. And we might go up and down with how fast I do this today. You know, when you see something like I showed you yesterday, it's not every day you cross that. It's not every day you can see somebody's house just ripped away from them. Although it happens every day. It happens all the time. And, you know, it's like a bridge that's not built yet. You know, you start on one end and you got to go to the other end, and you got to start somewhere. And so the bucket concept was for that purpose only. Bam Bam Post is for the same concept. The concept of taking a step forward into the positive direction of our children, our grandchildren, and the children that haven't been born yet, and as well as our adults, our baby boomers. You know, you guys hold 85% of the wealth in America, and we went through a big financial crisis that hurt everybody. And taking steps forward towards positive actions, you know, I was always told actions speak louder than words. And so I believe this country's headed towards the actions of giving back and securing that wealth for sure, for certain. And part of that is just how hard you guys worked for us. We thank you all that have put forward the work in front of us, like this, that put a bridge across the lake, and for us to drive across with a great car. And so I wanted to say thank you to all those, and you know, as well as my mother, my sisters, and all my nieces and nephews. And you know, I wanted to go over some things today that were why I created Bam Bam Post. And a lot of that has to do with, you know, we all go through life and we all get hurt by people that try to take from us, or their intent or their motive or their preconceived notions of us are to hurt us in some way, whether it be saying something to you or doing something to you. You know, we're human, so we tend to react to what it is, what's around us. And when somebody attacks us in a different way, or in the form of an attack, or the intent is to hurt, then we react with different things. And part of those things are security. And, you know, whether it is something that you do or something that they do to you, and believe me, it's happened to me. I'm human, remember. It's happened to all of us. Everybody has a story. And if you sit down and take the time to listen to them, they all have stories. Everybody does. Stories of great grief, I guess you would call it, or fantastic points that moved them from when they were in a situation. And me as well. Okay, I was in so many situations over the last 2 to 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 42 years of my life. I remember my daughter coming out of a house in Mount Lake Terrace and asking me if I was going to stay. And she said, "Dad, are you leaving or are you staying?" And, you know, at that point, I had my son, which was 1, and my daughter at about 3, 4 years old. And believe me, it wasn't something that I had a choice to do. You know, I was told a great saying a long time ago, and sometimes you have to lose your dream to find your destiny. And that's one reason why it's called KISSABCD.com. Always be creating destiny with what you have, and all you need is yourself to open up. And so I might have had a dream back then that I thought I was going to be. We all do. Everybody does. And some of us have responsibilities that we have to take action for. And so, you know, I took action with my 2 hands and stood my ground, and I still stand my ground today with my children and all my family and all my nieces and nephews. And you know, those things are bridges that were built to go across things that no one ever thought you could get across it. And when I was looking at that side, going to that side, you know, I was told by many men, "I'll just pay child support, many women, you're never going to get custody. And or you are you sure you're man enough to? Are you certain? Are you a man? Are you a father? Well, raised by my mother, and solely pretty much by my mother and my brother that had passed, it is to where yes. I looked up at a lot of fathers. I have many different coaches, I guess you'd call them, or fatherly figures that came from above down to help me get where I'm at today. And the stories that I can tell you are true. They're factual. I was a kid just like everybody else. Went through school and went through baseball, football, basketball, all those great places. And, one time in my life I thought I wasn't that great because I had taken a loss in a baseball game where we were playing against an Idaho team. And I threw 75 pitches, and we were at 0-0 in the ninth. And, I was all the way on third base. I had gotten on base, pinched 10 in, and then gotten away on third. And all we had to do was get home, and we would have tied and, sacrificed the run or did something. But we ended up going 1-0 in that All-Star game in Maple Valley in Washington. And I had taken that on for a long time, thinking that, I had did everything I could. Sometimes people say, I'm going to do my best. And I want you to know that that's great. When you say the word best, I mean, everybody wants the best. But sometimes you have to do what's required, okay? You have to step in to the circle and actually get your feet wet or what it is that you're doing. Put some passion into it. Put some love into it, okay? Everybody wants the Golden Gate Bridge or whatever you want to call it, the heavens to open up. But, it's not that you want it that bad. It's what you really want to do with it when you get it, okay? And so Bam Bam Post was created for not only those 2 million children that aren't talking to each other, 2 million deaf children, 2 million blind children, 2 million kids inside there facing leukemia, facing death dates, with Make-A-Wish Foundation, St. Jude's, lupus, and all the other, chromosome diseases and everything else that's out there. It's one of those sayings that they say we are human and we make humanly mistakes, and I do as well. So if I made one in the last video, forgive me, please. I'm not perfect at everything I do. This is new to me as it is to you, listening to me anyway. So when I say the things I say, I try to be absolutely clear and upfront and transparent with you on them, because I'm not saying them because I just dug them out of a book, okay? I had to go through life just like you did. I was brought to my knees many times, and you have to get back up just as hard as you get hit. And, there wasn't someone there saying get back up. There wasn't somebody there pulling me back up. It was me. I got back up as an individual, believing in myself every day that I can make this happen, that I believe that I can do this. And, I thought at one time baseball was going to be my thing. I thought at one time football was going to be my thing. I thought at one time construction was going to be my thing. And, explaining those things to you are just where I come from. And it matters to me because it matters to you. Where you come from is where you originated your traits, who you are, your identity, your individuality, your personality. And, we all have that. We all go through life experiencing all this stuff. And as I said, I wasn't handed a silver spoon, okay? I wasn't raised in a big castle on top of a big hill overlooking the water. That's not me. Although I've been there and lived in that lifestyle before. And believe me, it's really hard to find love when you have that. True love, anyway. Anyway, so the stories that I'm telling you are for my experience for you to understand Bam Bam Post. And when I say Bam Bam Post, it is for us to go, bam, he made that happen. Bam Bam, post it, like that. And the reason why was because when I was a kid, when I saw something in those magazines I was talking about in third grade, Mr. Turner, I posted them on the desk because I thought that was enlightening. I always looked around me and saw things and saw people, doing things, and whether you call it a negative notion or a preconceived notion of some sort, or an imagination notion, whatever it is that you call it, there was still, when I was a kid, there was still negativity around me, lots of it. And it always happened to me almost every day. I was challenged every day. And, I was challenged to run a mile. And I think the record was in our school back then was like 5.58, I think it was, or 5.50. And I tried to beat it because I'm one of those competitors when it comes down to the time. and I got as close as, I think it was 621 or 640, and that was about as far as I could push my mind at that time to believe that I could do it, and time. We only have so much time to do that, and then we have to do it after school and stuff. But you know, there's another point where a man can run that mile faster than you can think, and I know you guys know who I'm saying about, because I think he ran it in 4.58 or something, or 5 minutes or something like that. The mile can be run by a human, where he convinced himself, he convicted his mind to believe that that's what he could do, and he did it. I don't know the exact names, so don't hold me to being perfect again, or believe me, by all means, my memory in what I learned. You know, there's 200 and 48, depending upon where the sun and the moon and the earth is turning, to get to the moon, 1,000 miles. We did that. Us humans did that. We went to the moon, went around the moon, landed on the moon, and then came back. So 480 million miles we've traveled. Our human life has traveled to a place where we hit solid rock again. And we have 7.4 miles deep in the ocean where only 2 humans have seen and physically have gone down. You know, we can send a little robot to Mars, but our technology is to where we're going, where we have to, we want as humans to risk the fact that, can we put a human on that in there and do that. And that's great, exploring new land, as Roosevelt did here. Lake Roosevelt, one of the greatest presidents we've ever had, in my opinion again. As what we do with our time, and what we find that you can do is kind of like a chain reaction. When you say something positive to somebody, whether it be you got a beautiful smile, you got a beautiful song, a beautiful voice, beautiful hair, and you know, you're a beautiful person, extraordinary. I mean, some people are even hard to approach because they're so extraordinarily beautiful, and those people know who they are. But believe me, looking for the love inside something when you least expect it is amazing when you can see it come out. I know from my experience, believe me. And that's what life's about. You know, that's what Ambampost is about. When you make a song or a movie and you have so much passion towards it, you know, some of the creation and the director, you know, from Steven Spielberg making those movies, they came from a passion that he saw, an insight, a vision that would enlighten people, enlighten humans, give you guys the reason why E.T. phoned home, no different than us holding a phone today. And so, you know, I might be out there in the middle of the lake, I guess you'd call it, saying that Ambampost will be the positive posting website for us. And I'm, again, not interested on your friends, and we're all friends, 7.5 billion of us. And we all get to post together, and whether it be separated in language-wise for speed or for code, that will happen. But when it comes down to all of us being on the same planet, same dirt, with all the same love, we all got heartbeats and breaths. We can set aside our emotions and our beliefs when it comes down to somebody trying to believe that, you know, they believe that bridge is their maker, or they believe the sun is their maker, or the moon. You know, that's great. At least they believe, and you can't take that from somebody. They believe in themselves. They believe in that, and that's where they get their spiritual well-being, if you will. And so I wanted to get this across to you guys, because at the end of the day, we all have many different things we do. And, you know, whether it be the repetition of your conditioning, a constant repetition of conditioning of positive influence or positive things, it's something that everybody does. It's not just something that I would do or I do every day. It's something that everybody needs to do, to where when you see somebody, you are enlightened to that you get to talk, or that you get to see that person. Remember, there's a lot of people out there without eyes or without ears, and you have that option to turn around and give them something, whether it be telling them that they're a great person, like I said, or that their hair looks great, or that you like their shirt, and their shirt, where'd you get it? You know, I'd like it. I'd like to get one, or whatever it is. It looks good on you. You know, like the color, their eyes. Okay, so, and this goes as far back as you guys being married or being in a relationship that you're in. You know, relationships are to relate to each other, relate to coming together. And what commonality builds is sustainability. And so when you have a common form of your love for somebody, and life, and the great sun and the dirt we walk on, and that person does as well, you have something in common. And that's where you guys can build on that. You can build bridges everywhere you go. And the form of giving your love to somebody is no different than the form of saying, are you hungry? Somebody can do something for someone and move them so much. Believe me, I thank all of you guys that have moved me to this point in my life. I never thought I'd be in front of a laptop telling you exactly how I feel. And let alone at Lake Roosevelt, that I took the path today where they had taken the path to get here, to do this dam and this bridge way back in 1911. And so I'm thankful that that road is still there, and it was a lot of dirt road, but made it through it. A lot of turns, a lot of winds, and that's how life is. And so when you have a positive event, a positive moment with your children, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's the first time they've seen the ocean. Sometimes that's a big thing to them. They've never seen that much water in front of them. They've never seen the ocean come in and out by itself with no machines, or without the form of a human pushing a button. And that's amazing. Those are things that are amazing, not only to you, but to the child and to people that have never seen the ocean. And so, I'm expressing you this stuff because I want you to understand me. And I don't want to impose on you to try to make it seem like I'm trying to give you something that is untruthful in some way. These are things that successful people do every single day. And when they do them to where it's a repetition. It's like getting coffee if you like coffee in the morning. It's like a glass of water. I've seen people get a Diet Pepsi, if you will. I don't drink pop, but some people like that. Some people need that in the morning for them to think that that's what gets them moving. We all have that thing, that crutch, if you will, and we use it. The crutch that I'm working on is the positive end of what it is that you think ends, I guess, sometimes. We get through our day, our 8 hours of work, our 2,000 hours a year, and we constantly turn on the TV. They sell them like hotcakes down at Walmart. And we sit there and we turn it on to find out if we're missing something inside the news. I haven't seen the news in days, months, and years, in fact, and I'm okay with that because I like to see things that are positive. And so I always presume that when I get up in the morning that the world is great, fabulously great, and that I'm going to run across that somewhere, somehow, someday. Or not someday, now, every time I take a step somewhere. This is the first time in my life I've been here in 42 years of my life. I took the time out to come up here to get this video done for you this morning. And, it's good morning America, if you ask me. That's the way I look at it. I'm like an explorer. I like to go new places and see new things and meet new people. And so when we back up to ambampost, whether it's a cartoon character you like or something that it said, I remember reading the Snoopy things in the paper, and ambampost and pebbles, and that's where it kind of originates. I like to look at it like that. And then another saying that they said to me was, why you can't be worried about what the shovel cost you when you're digging for gold. A lot of people do. They get down, they spend $1 million or $100 or whatever it is on something they believe in. And then they stop doing it, and it's because they thought that it wasn't true, or it hasn't gone past the edge of where they were, when someone else that comes in and says, well, what happens when we go down there? Well, when we get this done, if you can imagine your children turning on the computer and seeing cartoons or a video of cartoon characters, whether it be Snow White, whether it be Bob the Builder, whether it be things in Disneyland or Disney World that get on there, those things matter. I'd rather have my child look at those and be a child than see the morning news that traffic is really bad, or that it's going to rain today in some way, and God forbid you don't get to see the sun, or that your emotions get bad because of that in some way, or you feel like you got a gray world that you can't get through. Emotional weatherly depression comes from your mindset of thinking that you need the weather to decide whether you're good or it's great today. And that preconceived notion again needs to just let it go, because it's great that you have a heartbeat and a breath and that you can talk and see. And believe me, those things matter. 8 fingers, 2 thumbs. I can stand here and show you how much energy I actually do have. But I can't like go across and swim over there and do that, because you guys all probably think I'm crazy. Which I am. I'm the type of guy that would do that with a bucket. So that way when I get tired, I'd be able to take a breath. Anyway, when it comes down to the concept of it, if you can imagine it 5 to 10 to 20 years from now, which that's about how far, 20 to 30, 40 years from now, you guys, our children are going to be running the world. And we want to keep them where they can say things to other people that are human, that are just like you and I, the 333 million that are here. Where you guys, the baby boomers of our nation, has stepped forward with all these great things, life, to give us. And we don't want to take this down. We don't want to hurt this stuff. This stuff is concrete. It's there. It's there for a purpose. And so the purpose of you being here is what? What is your purpose? And knowing that, if it's not for the greater good, then sit down and write it out. Sit down and figure that out. You're worth it. Your life is worth it. Your family's worth it. Your children are worth it. And if anyone ever told you different-wise, keep listening to the video. I'll keep telling you, you're worth it. And you can do it. It's inside you. You just got to find that little bit of spark that's in there, that someone found in me, and let it out. And let it out and just say that you not only love yourself, but you're willing to do something about it. And those things matter, because at the end of the day, you can do something else that is totally different than the rest of us. I think I turned the news on or seen a thing on there for some kind of something happening, like a shooting or something. I don't know if it was a school or a Waffle House or something, but it only takes a second, to get gratification when you hurt somebody. If you don't feel important and you take a gun and go do it, think about it. You're important now, especially now that you've hurt life. You've taken life away from somebody that was doing nothing but eating his waffles or something of the kind. And now you feel important, locked up inside of a cage. And if that's what you want for it being important, well, by all means, they'll leave the light on for you. Every state's got one, especially Arizona. But if you want to do it in the way that changes lives, and it changes the way your perception is on life, where you can see that at the end of the day, that you've taken a step towards the one thing that most people won't even look at. And the reason why is because you are too busy with your life. You're going through that Monday through Friday thing, the traffic and all that concrete, whatever it is you got going on over there, and you think that nobody actually notices. And the sad part is the ones like me, or the people that have that openness and have that passion or compassion for love and life and laughter and living every day above ground, then you would see the difference between the two, because you don't need materialistic things to be yourself. You don't need a whole lot of money to just know that you're worth something to not only just one person, you're worth something to the world. And every one of us are in our own special way. We all have our own special traits and characters that we can let out. And so I said yesterday, rich is a quality. It's a quality inside most men, gentle men. My mother raised me that way, because that's the way that I was taught to treat women and to be. And it's hard to stay on that sometimes, because we get hit with so many different things. But I can tell you that it's in you. It's within you, and you have the right and the ability, the know-how to put together your life when it comes down to knowing that you're here for a very lovable reason. And you can approach it in 10 different ways, and they can all be wrong in that 11th way. Einstein made the light bulb, and it took him 1,999 times to turn it before it actually turned on. And here we are today. We're still using the same light bulb, same concept, same everything, same energy. And when it comes down to our electricity, the fight over the theory of our atoms, neutrons, protons, and electrons, and all the matter we have, we're still out there, scientists are out there calculating all that great stuff together. But how far behind are we? We're so far behind, we look at all the stuff on TV rather than doing something that can create more and better things that we can do. Believe me, the math isn't easy, but I love looking at it, because to me, it's something that it's a challenge for me. And that's why I was trying to tell you about all of us on one page. 7.5 billion people on one page. How do you do that? Everybody said you can't write the code for that. There's not even a code or whatnot for that. I look up in the sky at night to see the stars, and people tell me, well, what do you believe in? I believe in the stars. I believe in the moon. I believe in the sun. I believe in the water. I believe in matter. I believe in things that when people come from the heart, when people have that passion inside them, and you can see it. And not only from me, but from everybody around me. And as you see, there's nobody here at this park this morning. They're all waking up, I think, still, or getting a shower and whatever else they're doing. So I came out early this morning because I wanted to make sure that I had the time to get it done for you guys. I wanted to take the time to understand a little bit more and clarify what it is, why I'm trying to give you this, and at the same time, what it is that the outcome is. Remember, what's the outcome? Well, there's another analogy thing. You know, Bill Gates took all the computer stuff that we have, all of it, and stuck it into a CD, a computer program. And now that CD is smarter than the space shuttle that went to the moon and back and brought human life back. Whereas he created something that no one ever has. No one's ever done anything significant like that. So you could take like Intel over here in Arizona, where they're working on the fastest chip, the fastest way to calculate, and the mass amount of mass and matter to where it's preconceived already, or that it already knows, and the technology is moving forward with that. So this is that. This is where we all humans can come together. We can post positive things for our children, our adults, our seniors, and whether it is you're going to see your grandma, or whether it is you're going to go see your son or your daughter at school, which I have. I've walked that path before, and they're great. You should take the time to see your daughter come off the bus, or your son come off the bus, or have your son see him graduate first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and all the way up. I have. It's a blessing, believe me, and I'm very grateful that I actually got to experience that. So when I say the things I say, I'm saying them from my heart. I'm saying them truthfully to you guys, because I want you to understand that I'm just a person just like you. I want to say average, but I guess some people have said otherwise. Well, you know, when you push someone into the corner and they get disturbed enough, and that negativity will build you, will make you more powerful. You know, we all know what we don't want. Everybody sees it every day. But what is it that you do want? Do you want a better world for your family? Do you want a better life? I mean, is it something that you're really passionate about? You could turn around and make that happen in an easy way. You don't have to turn around and say that it's impossible. Impossible is a word that if you know it, it's like failure. It's a choice. It's a matter of a choice. Letting it inside your head. Allowing yourself to believe that it couldn't be true. Like it's too good to be true. And there's another analogy with that. If it's too good to be true for you, then your beliefs are wrong. You know, because they thought nobody was going to get across this with a bridge or a dam. But our president figured it out and made the path to get up here and found the lake and named it after himself, because he's still holding a value. And that's years ago. Shoot, 100 years ago at that. And here we are, that's 100 times around the sun, if not longer. So I'm 42 years old. I've traveled 42 years around the sun. And, you know, the days that you were born and the nights that you've seen, mine have not been as easy as, you know, as probably, I guess you would say, anyone else's. So take it from me, and I want you to be thankful for everything you have. And believe me, it is something that I see every day. And so kissabc.com and ambampost.com is something that you guys can have every day to make your life a grander, better, extraordinary, fantastic life that you deserve to live. And now you know what it is that I'm saying. So at the end of the day, feel free to post what you want, and I will go through it, okay? And have a bam bam day, okay? And I'm going to make another video probably down the road. So outside of that, love you all, love your family, say hi to them, and enjoy life.